Chosen one, without moving a single muscle, I want you to mentally scan your memory for the silent conversation you had with God recently. Perhaps you were sitting in your car or on the edge of your bed, and you did not even have the energy to cry anymore. You just stared blankly, feeling a hollow ache behind your ribs, and your mind screamed, "Why are the people who compromise getting everything while I do everything right and get nothing?" You are dangerously close to believing that heaven has forgotten you. But notice the absolute stillness in your mind right now as you hear my voice. The Holy Spirit did not let you scroll past this video. You were intercepted. The extreme silence and isolation you are experiencing is not a punishment, and God's justice is not broken. You are currently sitting in the final stage of a ruthless spiritual quarantine, a test that thousands of others took before you. They compromised for a quick exit. You are one of the only ones who did not break. Before I reveal the hidden architecture of your current season and why you were chosen to pass where thousands failed, I invite you to subscribe to align with a global collective of awakened souls. Like this video, if your spirit immediately confirms this word, and type 777 inches, the comments right now, to physically anchor the frequency of your upcoming coronation. And I need you to mentally commit to staying with me until the very last second of this message. Do not let your attention drift. By the end of our time together today, you will possess the exact framework to mentally sort out the energy vampires in your life. You will understand the hidden neurological reason why your body feels so exhausted right now, and I will reveal the 3 specific, calculated counterattacks the enemy has planned for your next 40 days. If you leave early, you will walk into this next season completely blind to the traps waiting for you. But if you stay, you will walk in fully armed and untouchable. Let us address the overwhelming silence you are sitting in right now. You look at your phone and realize that out of hundreds of contacts, there is no one who truly speaks your spiritual language. You feel a heavy numbness in your throat when you try to explain your journey to your family. They look at you with blank stares, or worse, with subtle judgment. You thought this isolation was a punishment. You thought you did something wrong to lose the favor of people. But focus on the steady beating of your heart right now and hear this truth. You are not. God had to isolate you because you were unconsciously absorbing the low frequencies of the people around you. You are a vessel designed to carry a massive, history-altering mandate. But a vessel cannot hold pure water if it is constantly being dipped into a muddy river. The thousands of people who failed this test, the ones you see compromising and getting quick, hollow rewards, they refused the quarantine. They chose the noise of the crowd over the transformative silence of the throne room. They could not handle being forgotten. But you survived the silence. But why does it hurt so much? Why does your physical body feel like it just ran a marathon when all you did was sit quietly in your room and pray? Notice the temperature of your hands right now. Notice the slight, lingering tension at the base of your neck. That is not just stress. That is a severe frequency mismatch. You see, the people who failed the test live entirely in a survival frequency. It is a state of constant anxiety, manipulation, and hustle. But the calling on your life requires a divine frequency. Your exhaustion is the direct result of your spiritual DNA trying to operate at a high, heavenly frequency, while your physical brain is still surrounded by the low, survival frequencies of the matrix around you. It is exactly like trying to run advanced, high-definition software on an outdated operating system. The system constantly buffers. Your deep fatigue is not a sign of depression or weakness. It is the literal somatic response of your internal wiring being completely upgraded. This exact upgrading process has a profound biblical precedent. Mentally picture David. He was anointed to be king, but instead of being handed a throne, he was driven into a cave. For years, he was hunted, isolated, and forced into hiding while the corrupt King Saul sat in comfort. The Book of Psalms, chapter 105, verse 19, reveals the hidden mechanics of this brutal season. It says, until the time that his word came to pass. The word of the Lord tried him. Most people read the English translation and think God was just checking to see if David was a good, moral person. But let us look at the original Hebrew text. The word translated as tried is the Hebrew word saraf. Teraf does not mean a written exam or a pass-fail test. It is a metallurgical term. It literally means to smelt, to refine, to melt down metal in a blazing furnace, to burn away every single impurity until the gold is so pure that the refiner can clearly see his own reflection in it. God was not checking David's personality. He was putting David through the Zaraf process to fundamentally alter his frequency. The cave was the furnace, the isolation was the fire. God was burning away the shepherd boy mentality so the frequency of a king could finally emerge. You are in your Tsaraf process right now. That hollow pressure you feel in your chest is the heat of the furnace burning away your need for human validation and worldly approval. The thousands who failed this test jumped out of the furnace the moment it got uncomfortable. They settled for bronze. You stayed in the fire. Because you stayed, your frequency has been purified. But a purified frequency must be fiercely protected. If you do not protect it, you will immediately absorb the toxic energy of the world the moment you step out of this quarantine. I am going to give you a mental framework right now to protect your energy. You do not need to say a single word to anyone or take any physical action. I call it the 3-circle rule, and we are going to establish it in your mind right this second. Visualize 3 concentric circles glowing around your body. The innermost circle, circle 1, is reserved exclusively for God and the direct prophetic words He gives you. Mentally gather your biggest, most fragile dreams, the visions you are terrified to speak out loud, and place them securely in circle 1. Lock them in. The enemy cannot read your thoughts. He can only intercept what you speak into the air. Keep your deepest mandates safely in circle 1. Now, visualize circle 2. This is your inner court. It contains a maximum of 2 or 3 people who have proven they can hold your weight without getting secretly jealous. Mentally scan your life right now. If there is someone who consistently complains about your growth, subtly competes with you, or dismisses your pain, I want you to mentally drag their face out of circle 2 and push them outward. You do not have to announce a dramatic exit to them. Just mentally revoke their access to your spiritual core. Finally, visualize circle 3. This is everyone else, the acquaintances, the passive-aggressive family members, the co-workers. From this day forward, you only share results with circle 3, never the process. If you share a raw, unmanifested dream with circle 3, their low-frequency doubts will contaminate your vision before it can breathe. Mentally commit right now to absolute strategic silence. Let your sudden, unexplainable results make all the noise. If your mind is locked into this 3-circle architecture, I want you to comment the exact words, "My borders are sealed," to register this mental shift in the physical realm. Chosen one, you now know how to mentally protect your space using these 3 circles. You understand the furnace you just survived. But here is the terrifying truth most believers miss. You can build the perfect mental boundaries and still fail the final exam if your internal brain state is out of alignment. The reason your external reality has not shifted yet goes much deeper than your faith. It is actually neurological. And what I am about to show you in the next part will change how you view your own mind forever. Chosen one, you thought the silence you have been sitting in was a test of your faith. For months, maybe even years, you have been in a season that made absolutely no sense. Doors closed that should have opened. People left that should have stayed. Opportunities vanished right when you were about to grasp them. And through it all, you kept showing up. You kept praying. You kept believing, even when your faith felt like a joke to the people around you. You survived the furnace of isolation, and you stayed faithful. So you assume that was the test. You assume God was simply checking to see if you would stay loyal when things got hard. But I need you to notice the sudden sharp shiver down your spine as I say this next sentence. That was not a faithfulness test. Faithfulness was just the cover story. That is what you thought was being tested. But while you were entirely focused on staying faithful, God was actually testing something far more dangerous, something that most believers fail entirely, even after they pass the faithfulness test. He was testing your ability to handle being completely forgotten. Think about it. Staying faithful is about what you do, but being forgotten is about what others do not do for you. When the people who promised to help you suddenly developed amnesia, when the recognition you rightfully deserved never came, when you were doing everything perfectly right, operating with complete integrity, but getting zero confirmation from the external world. God was watching to see if you could keep going when you were functionally invisible. The thousands of people who failed this test did not necessarily lose their faith in God. They lost their ability to stand without human applause. They needed an audience to feel anointed, but you did not. You passed the test of invisibility. But why does this invisibility feel so physically devastating? Why does your brain feel completely foggy, as if a heavy blanket has been thrown over your thoughts? This is where the spiritual realm meets your biological wiring, and I need you to hear this clearly. When you are isolated, stressed, and fighting daily just to hold on to your sanity in a world that does not understand you, your brain is forced into a survival frequency. In neuroscience, this is known as the beta brainwave state. Beta is the frequency of the matrix. It is the frequency of anxiety, of overthinking, of constant hustle, and of spiritual blockage. But the divine downloads you used to get, the prophetic dreams, the deep intuition, and the genius-level solutions you are waiting for, they do not exist in the beta frequency. They exist in the theta state. Theta is the frequency of the divine connection. It is the exact brain state where the veil between heaven and earth is the thinnest. Ancient mystics spent decades in absolute silence trying to access this specific frequency. Even former neuroscientists studying human potential at NASA have confirmed this phenomenon. Their research revealed that 98% of children are born with this genius-level, theta-dominant brain state. It is our natural, God-given birthright. But the trauma of this world, the stress of the matrix, and the brutal isolation of the test you just went through, it suppresses that divine frequency, locking your mind in survival mode. You are not spiritually broken. You are not being punished. Your brain is simply stuck on the wrong channel, broadcasting in a frequency of fear when you were designed to broadcast in a frequency of divine genius. You do not need to strive harder. You do not need to pray longer hours out of desperation. You need a recalibration. Right now, without moving a single muscle, I want you to mentally let go of the exhausting idea that you have to fight your own brain. Just let your mind be completely still. Imagine a soft, humming tuning fork striking a perfect note in the exact center of your mind. Feel that imaginary vibration slowly expanding, pushing out the chaotic, loud static of the beta survival state. There is a sacred technology, a digital key, designed to do exactly this. It uses specific audio entrainment, taking just 7 minutes a day, to gently guide your brain out of the matrix of survival and back into your natural, divine theta frequency. This is not a magic trick. It is science confirming ancient spiritual wisdom. It is a tool for those who are ready to restore their neurological birthright. If your spirit feels a deep, undeniable resonance with this, do not rush. But when this message is over, I invite you to gently check the pinned comment to explore this frequency tool for yourself. Now, we must address the shadow standing in your mind. The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 3, holds a mystery that unlocks your current state. It says, "I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places." Let us look at the context of this promise. God does not place his greatest treasures in the light where everyone can see them. The treasures of darkness are the revelations, the authority, and the mental fortitude you only acquire when you are buried in obscurity. You just survived the dark. You passed the invisibility test. The hidden riches are now yours. But here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody else will tell you. Part of you does not want the treasure. Part of you is terrified of the breakthrough. Let that land in your spirit for a moment. You have been fasting for this, crying for this, begging God for promotion, but deep down in the secret folder of your mind, a voice is whispering, "What if I get the blessing and I mess it up? What if I am not actually ready? What if success changes me into someone I do not recognize? Or worse, what if I fail publicly this time instead of privately?" You feel that sudden tightness in your stomach just hearing me say those words out loud. That fear is real. You have watched other people get blessed before they were ready, and you watched them crash painfully. You saw them lose their character the moment they gained an audience, and you are secretly terrified that you are going to be next. I am here as your spiritual surgeon to cut that lie out of your mind right now. That fear you feel is not a lack of faith. It is not a sin. It is the absolute, undeniable proof that you are ready. The people who crashed under the weight of the blessing were the ones who had no fear. They grabbed power with arrogant hands, possessing zero awareness of how heavy the crown truly is. But you are trembling because you understand the magnitude of the assignment. In the original Hebrew, the word for glory is kavod, and kavod literally translates to heavy. The glory of God is not light and fluffy. It is a massive, crushing weight. Only those who have been strengthened in the furnace of invisibility have the structural integrity to carry the kavod without breaking. Your fear is simply your profound respect for the weight of the glory. So right now, I want you to perform a mental surgery with me. Mentally unbuckle the heavy, rusted armor of the exhausted victim that you have been wearing for the last few years. Picture it falling off your shoulders, hitting the floor with a loud clang. You do not need it anymore. The survival season is over. Now, mentally brace your spine, lift your chin, and prepare to carry a new weight. The weight of purpose, the weight of visibility, the weight of the kavod. You have the tool to restore your frequency, and you have mentally made peace with the fear of the crown. You are officially ready. But heaven needs me to issue a severe warning right now. The exact moment your frequency shifts into theta and your breakthrough begins, the enemy's radar will go off. You are about to face a counterattack, and it will not be random. There are 3 specific, calculated ambushes designed for people exactly at this stage. If you cannot name them, you will mentally fall into them. Let me show you the playbook. The first ambush is the financial temptation. Within the next few weeks, as your frequency begins to clear, someone is going to offer you an opportunity that looks like answered prayer. It might be a job offer, a business deal, or a sudden chance to make quick money. Because you have been in a season of severe lack, your survival brain will scream at you to take it. But pay close attention. This opportunity will require a slight compromise. It will ask you to bend your integrity, or it will require you to partner with someone whose frequency is rooted in manipulation. The enemy is testing to see if you will sell your divine inheritance for a cheap bowl of soup. The second ambush is the comparison attack. You are going to be scrolling on your phone, and you will see someone who deeply betrayed you, or someone who took every unethical shortcut possible, suddenly experiencing massive public success. The enemy will project a loud voice into your mind saying, "Look at them. They did everything wrong, and they are winning. You did everything right, and you are still waiting." He wants to inject the poison of bitterness into your purified spirit. He wants you to resent God's justice. The third ambush is the identity confusion. One morning, you are going to wake up and feel a sudden, crushing wave of the exact same depression and heaviness you felt during the lowest point of your test. It will feel so real that you will think to yourself, "I did not pass anything. I am still broken. I am still stuck." Listen to me very carefully. That emotion is an echo. It is a phantom pain. The enemy is projecting a hologram of your past trauma to trick you into operating from your old, defeated identity. You must not fight these attacks with your emotions. You must fight them with a mental firewall. Right now, as you are listening to me, I want you to perform this mental action. Imagine a thick, impenetrable wall of pure, soundproof glass dropping down heavily in the center of your mind. Whenever you hear the whisper of compromise, whenever you feel the sting of comparison, or whenever the phantom depression tries to settle on your chest, I want you to mentally drop that glass wall. Instantly mute the voice. Do not argue with it. Do not negotiate with it. Just drop the firewall and watch the enemy's words bounce off the glass and dissolve into nothing. If you think this is just theory, let me tell you exactly what happens when you apply this. 14 months ago, there was a chosen one sitting exactly where you are. They had been stuck in a vicious cycle of failed ideas and extreme isolation for years. They felt entirely invisible, but they learned the three-circle rule. They realized they had a highly toxic family member sitting right in their circle too, constantly draining their energy. Without saying a single word or causing any physical drama, they mentally evicted that person to circle 3. They sealed their borders. Then, they began using the audio frequency tool to tune their brain back to the theta state every single day. For 3 weeks, nothing happened externally. The enemy hit them with the identity confusion attack, telling them they were foolish for trying. But they mentally dropped the firewall. They refused to listen. On day 40, a completely unexpected divine connection reached out to them out of nowhere. A person they had never met offered them a partnership that not only restored their finances, but perfectly aligned with their spiritual mandate. Today, they are walking in absolute authority. Let me tell you about another chosen one just last year. They passed the invisibility test, but within days, they were hit with the financial temptation. They were offered a high-paying contract, but it required them to lie about certain data. Their bank account was completely empty. The pressure was suffocating, but they remembered the firewall. They mentally blocked the fear of poverty and politely declined the contract. Their friends called them crazy. 3 weeks later, the exact door God had actually promised swung wide open, carrying double the provision with zero compromise required. These are not coincidences. This is the exact pattern of spiritual physics. When you hold your frequency, the universe must reorganize itself to match it. The Apostle Paul understood this frequency war perfectly. In the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, he talks about putting on the full armor of God. We have read this 1,000 times and pictured literal Roman armor. We picture a physical shield and a physical helmet. But look at the pattern of Paul's teachings. The armor is not physical. The helmet of salvation is the mental firewall protecting your identity. The shield of faith is the energetic frequency that extinguishes the low vibration arrows of the enemy. The armor is a sustained mental state. When you hold your theta frequency, when you keep your circles protected, you are fully armored. You are stepping into a 40-day prophetic window. The shifting has already begun in the unseen realm. The resources you need are being dispatched. The divine connections are currently being coordinated. But more importantly, your identity is being permanently sealed. You are no longer a seeker begging the universe for a crumb of validation. You are no longer a victim waiting to be rescued from the cave. You are a ruler. You are a vessel of the kavod, the heavy glory of God. We are going to seal this right now. Do not move your hands. Do not move your feet. Whether you are lying down or sitting in your car, I need your physical body to be completely still, because this activation is going to happen entirely in your spirit. In the mighty name of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, I declare that this is not the end of a video. This is a divine intersection. This is the marked hour of your coronation. Heaven is watching this exact moment. Father, you saw the tears they cried at 3 in the morning when the silence was deafening. You saw them hold on to their integrity, when the temptation to compromise was screaming at them. You saw them accept the quarantine. They did not break. They survived the furnace. And for their faithfulness in the dark, I decree that they are fully qualified for the light. Right now, by the authority of the Word and the power of the Holy Spirit, I mentally seal the three-circle rule around their life. I seal their inner court. I seal their mental firewall. Every demonic assignment designed to make them doubt their calling is bound and muted right now. Every low-frequency attack of comparison and identity confusion is shattered against the glass. I seal the divine theta frequency into their mind. I decree over you that within the next 40 days, the invisible barriers holding back your mandate are dissolving. Doors that were rusted shut are being removed from their hinges. The inheritance, locked in your bloodline, waiting for someone with the purity to carry it, is being released to you. You are moving from the wilderness to the throne room. Chosen one, heaven is asking you a question right now, and I need you to answer it with the full force of your spirit. Will you carry this heavy glory? Will you steward this assignment without compromising your frequency? If your answer is yes, I want you to scream the word yes in the absolute silence of your own mind right now. Say it in your spirit. Yes, I am ready. Heaven heard that frequency. It is recorded. It is sealed. You are commissioned. Go now. You are dismissed from your waiting room. You are deployed into your destiny. Walk in the authority of your new frequency. Do not say amen yet. I want you to sit in this absolute stillness for 60 seconds. Feel the weight of the crown settling on your mind.